The Greater Israel Plan Blueprint for a New Middle East 2026. The dust from 12-day war between Tel Aviv and Tehran has barely settled. The fall of the Assad regime in Damascus has left a power vacuum that the world is scrambling to fill. Amidst this chaos, one phrase has moved from whispers of fringe theology to the center of global intelligence briefings: the Greater Israel Plan. It is not just a religious dream anymore. To some, it is a strategic roadmap. To others, it is a declaration of a total regional war. At its core, the concept known as Eretz Israel Hashlema is rooted in an ancient promise. But what does that look like on a modern map? According to the most expansive interpretations, from the Nile to the Euphrates isn't a metaphor. It is a massive territorial claim that would encompass Egypt, the entire Sinai Peninsula, and the parts of the New Delta, the entirety of Hashemite Kingdom in Jordan, from Lebanon, the southern half, reaching towards the Litani River, Syria, vast swaths of the south and east, including the Golan and beyond, Iraq, large portion of the western desert stretching to the banks of the Euphrates, Saudi Arabia, the northern province, sometimes including the holy city of Medina, Turkey, small southern fringes where the Euphrates begins its journey. What is the union and the strategy of chaos? But the plan is not just a theology. In 1982, the Union Plan outlined a chillingly clinical strategy for Israel to survive as a regional superpower. The surrounding Arab states, Egypt, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon must be dissolved into smaller ethnic and sectarian statelets. Propre- Proponents of this view argue that balkanizing the Middle East is the only way to ensure Israeli security. Critics see it as a blueprint for perpetual ethnic cleansing and the end of the modern nation state in the Levant. Why are we talking about this now? Because the status quo is dead. With the collapse of traditional power structure in Syria and the weakening of the Iranian influence, the borders of 1948, 1967, and even 1973 feel increasingly like suggestions rather than laws. We see it in the rhetoric of the modern ministers standing in front of maps that include Jordan. We see it in the buffer zones expanding into southern Lebanon. The Greater Israel Plan is being tested not in a single grand invasion, but through the salami slicing of regional sovereignty. What are the global consequences? If this vision moves from the map to ground, the consequences are not just regional, they are global. It means the end of the international order as we know it. It means a direct collision course with nearly every major Arab power and the potential for a holy war that could last generations. Is the Greater Israel Plan a historical relic, a paranoid conspiracy, or the inevitable feature of a region that has not known peace in centuries. The lines are being drawn. The question is who will be left to live within them? How much percentage have Israel achieved from this plan so far? Quantifying the achievement of the Greater Israel Plan, often referred to as Nile to the Euphrates vision, is a complex because it is not an official government policy with a public checklist. Instead, it is a geopolitical and a religious concept with varying definitions. However, based on the territorial control in April 2026, compared to the most expansive version of the map, spanning from the Nile in Egypt to the Euphrates in Iraq, we can calculate a rough territorial percentage. The total land of the Greater Israel vision is the most extreme version of the map includes modern Israel and the Palestine is 28,000 square kilometer, Jordan 89,000 square kilometer, Lebanon 10,400 square kilometer, Syria 185,000 square kilometer, Egypt Sana'a Peninsula 60,000 square kilometer, Iraq western regions to the Euphrates 170,000 square kilometer, Saudi Arabia northwestern fringes 20,000 square kilometer. Total estimated area approximately 562 and 400 square kilometer. The current control as of April 2026, Israel's functional control includes internationally recognized Israel is 20,770 square kilometer. The Golan Heights 1,200 square kilometer. The West Bank de facto annexation 5,600 square kilometer with 2026 land registration law effectively placing most of area C under the Gaza Strip 365 square kilometer currently under renewed military occupation and blockade. South Lebanon security zone. Since the March 2026 escalation, Israel has re-established a military buffer zone in southern Lebanon, estimated at 500 to 800 square kilometer. Total currently controlled area approximately 28,800 square kilometer. The achievement percentage based on mass is about 5.1%. While the raw percentage is low, proponents and critics point to strategic consolidation rather than just land masses. The West Bank, the 2026 land registration initiatives, and the expansion of over 100 outposts have effectively integrated the territory into Israel's administrative grid, moving it from occupied to sovereign in practice. The Gaza, following the breakdown of 2025 ceasefire, the reoccupation of the Strip has effectively neutralized it as an independent entity. The regional vacuum, the collapse of central authority in Damascus following the fall of the Assad regime earlier this year, and the weakening of Hezbollah have allowed Israel to establish security zone beyond its 1967 borders, which some analysts view as the first step of Yemen plan, the fragmentation of Arab states. diplomatic shifts. A statement in early 2026 by high ranking international figures, including the USA ambassador, suggesting that Israeli claims to the biblical borders are legitimate, have provided the strongest diplomatic tailwind for this vision in decades. In terms of sovereign territory, Israel has achieved roughly 5% of the Nile to Euphrates map. However,